Hey folks, welcome to the Knifeprint.com Masterclass video series. My name is Dennis Tyrell of Tyrell Knifeworks, and I'm going to be your guide through this series. I'm a knife maker and an American Bladesmith Society journeyman smith, and I'm going to help you design better knives. So let's go take a look. Well, here we are in Knifeprint. I'm at the home page. I've logged in as my Tyrell Knifeworks Gmail account, and we're going to jump right in and start designing. So when you come into Knifeprint, it takes you into the editor with the last project that you worked on, and here it's a karambit, but what we're going to do is go to projects. And this shows me all of my projects that I've got. So you can see I've got quite a few designs in Knifeprint. I can see all the public projects. So if you don't have a paid membership, by default, your projects are public, and there are literally thousands of projects in here. And you can sort them by different categories and sort them as well. Knifeprint also provides you a bunch of templates that you can start with, like Bowie knives and chef knives and different things to get you started. What we're going to do today is actually create a brand new project from scratch. One of the things I like to do, sometimes I see pictures of knives that I really like, or I like aspects of those knives, and sometimes you just want to pick things from other knives. So what I'm going to do is trace an image, and I'm going to pick one of my own hunting knives just for this test, and there it is. So I'm going to zoom that out a little bit because it's a big image. There. I'll get rid of this menu. So now we're going to trace this. And when you pick an image like this, it's best to have an image that is flat to the camera so that there's, it's not like the blade is much closer to the camera than the handle, so it's skewed. You want one that's basically flat. So now I'm just going to start basically putting a point along the edge of the knife on every, apex of the curve. Meaning wherever the curve, the top of the curve. There's a little recurve here. I'm going to do this kind of quickly. And we're going to smooth these out afterwards. You'll see what I'm talking about. And you'll see that it's giving me a little X telling me it's going to link all those up. So now we're going to move over to the select tool. Okay, which lets me select nodes, and you can see as I hover it shows me the path. And there's C, you can see there's a few places where I kind of missed, but that's fine, we're going to fix that up. So now we're going to go and select these nodes, and right now you'll see that the paths, the lines between nodes are just straight lines. So we're going to select some of those and go up here and change it. Instead of just a single, like a node with no curve, we're going to add this one. We're going to pick symmetric handles. And what this means is it adds these little handles on either side of the node that you can drag and stretch. And you'll notice as I do that, it changes the curve. The longer the handle, the more curve. The shorter the handle, the curve is right at the node. So we're just going to do it until it matches the curve of our image. Okay, something like that. There's a little recurve here, so I'm going to do that. We're going to make a really slight curve here. We're going to fix that, but we're going to do this one first. And if it's too close, you can zoom in. And then I can move that to about there. And you can always move the node around until you get the right kind of curve. And you can see this is pretty quick. I'm already done half the knife almost. Okay, we're just going to do this handle part. Let me zoom that out a bit. Okay, we just got a couple more to do. And last one. All right, so that's pretty close. Let's check how we did. We're going to, actually this one's off a little bit. Now I'm going to remove the background image. Okay, so there's our knife. I think it looks pretty good. One of the things we can do is select the path, get rid of the path properties here, and there's a little, it's hard to see, but there's a little rotation image here. You can drag this and click, and this will, actually I'm dragging and holding, and this will let you rotate the image. So I just like to have the knife kind of flat. I'm going to just zoom out a little bit, and I'm doing this, I have a trackpad, so I'm just zooming out with 2 fingers here, but you can also do this by using the zoom factor down here. And if you get to a point where, I just want to reset it, you can hit the reset zoom, and you'll see that this, got really big. That's because when I traced the image, I zoomed out a lot, and that makes it think that this knife is 54 inches. So what we need to do is I think this knife is going to be around 9 inches. And now I'm going to reset the zoom. So now my proportions are correct. So I can take the measure tool and see, well, how long is my blade? Well, the blade's, go from here. Yeah, the blade is, I'm looking at this center one that's got the red arrow. The blade is 4.299 inches. And I've got my units set in inches. You can easily set these in centimeters in millimeters if you're in metric as well. So let's put some other features on this knife. One of the things I want to do is I want some pinholes. So let's use the drill function and put a pinhole here. That's pretty big. So we're going to select it. And up here, now I can set the exact size that I want this at. So I'm going to set it at 1/875. Okay, so now that is 3/16 of an inch. And now I can just right click here and I'm going to hit copy, go over here, paste. There's my other pinhole. Pretty cool. And as you move it around, it gives you the distance from the edge here. Okay, what I need to do though, I need to know where my handle is going to start. So let's do a few more features so that I know that. First thing is I always like to put my bevel on. Before I put the bevel, I'd like to put a little sharpening choil here. So we're going to use one of the new features, which is the serration. And I'd like a serration, a hole basically that is 3/16. And now I can just put that right there. Very easy. So now that I've got my sharpening choil, I'm going to put in my bevel. But first, I want to put a false edge. Okay, so we're going to draw that false edge in. Okay, we'll just make that. Yeah, that looks good. So now let's start with our bevel. Our bevel is going to come up from our sharpening choil here. And now we're just going to, like we did before, just make that curve. All right, so there's our bevel. Now let's draw the front of our handle, just so we have a reference for where we want to put our, there. And there we go. Let's make this a little nicer. So now I have a better idea of where I want my pins to go. So let's move our pin kind of about here. All right. What about some weight reduction holes? Let's put some of those in. Okay, but I want these a little bigger, so we're going to do these at 1/2 inch. And again, we're going to copy. Paste. And then we'll do 4 of them. We'll paste 1 more. All right. So I think we did pretty good. We could play with these a little bit and move them around and get them all perfect. But, for this demo, I think we're close enough. So now let's see what our knife looks like. Let's do a 3D preview. So here it's telling me what the preview is. Let's preview it in Damascus. We can pick our width. Whoops, we'll do this. And let's do a 3D preview. So it's generating the Damascus. It takes a second just to render that. There it is. And I can spin this around. I can check all of, make sure the edges are smooth and it's everything that I want. I think it looks really good. So now we can also export. So this requires a paid membership, but this is really the most useful feature for your designs is exporting them to PDF. I like to put a nice big margin so they're easy to cut out. You can add crosses to the holes, and this is great because it'll print out a little cross over this hole, so you can center punch them and get really accurate results. Because I like to be able to print out my designs, cut them out, put them on a piece of steel, and really trace around them or just grind to that. And so it'll just export that, and it'll include all of the dimensions, meaning it will be exactly 9 inches because that's what you set it at. Another thing that we can do is instant water jet quote, which is very cool. So you'll notice that it did not, it takes out all of the features that aren't part of your base knife, like bevels and where the handle started. It's just what the water jet is going to include. So we'll hit get quote. Here it's showing me that I can choose the material. I'm going to pick 80 CRV2. I'll choose, a little thicker. And it's really cool that it gives you kind of a little definition of the material info, some cool info about that. And it's giving me price. And as I increase the price, so if I buy 8 of these, they're going to be $18.31, or $146 to get 8 of them water jet cut. Of course, that includes the steel, so that's a really great deal. And I want you all to look at above here. Order now and get 2 months of the V2 Editor Pro subscription free for orders above $100. So that's really cool. You should definitely take advantage of that. And I can just add this to cart, hit buy, put in my credit card info, and get these knife blanks sent directly to me. I've used this service already, and it's excellent. So definitely check that out. Now I've got this great design. I can save it. I can reprint it. It's just so many uses. Thanks for joining me on this Knifeprint Masterclass episode 1. Stay tuned. In the next episode, we're going to get into some more advanced topics, right up to making some really complex designs. We'll see you on the next one, folks.